Good morning everyone! Today I'm here for a Get Ready With Me and I'm actually heading to work in about an hour. So I just thought that I would film myself today getting ready and I'm going to use my product pan items so you can see how I use them on an everyday basis. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So the first thing I do is take my Bobbi Brown corrector and have this in light bisque and I use this Real Techniques Deluxe crease brush and I just put this on under my eyes. I like doing this before I put on my foundation just because I feel like it gives it more time to sink into my skin, and I think it's easier to blend in because when I have a lot of layers on I just feel like this doesn't blend in as nicely. So I put this on before I do anything else. But yeah, that's the first step that I do every morning. Next up, we're going to take my foundation and I'm using the Lioele Beyond the Solution BB Cream, which I've had in my makeup basket for a few months now. And I usually use about a pump and a half of this. And as you know, I always use my beauty blender to apply my foundation. Recently, I haven't been using any primers. I don't know, I just kind of got out of the habit of using a primer every morning, so I only really use primers when I know that I need my makeup to last for a really long time or when my skin is problematic. So yeah, for an everyday basis I haven't been using a primer, which I'm not going to do today because I'm literally doing my makeup for work. And once my foundation is done, I'm going to pop on my concealer, and currently I'm using the LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade Porcelain. And I'm just popping this on under my eyes, as well as a tiny bit on my nose and around my nose and my chin. And again, I'm just going to use my beauty blender to blend this in. This concealer isn't my favorite. I feel like this doesn't have that much coverage actually. I know that it is advertised as a full coverage concealer, but I really don't find it as being a full coverage concealer. I don't know. I really like the undertone of this concealer because I feel like these more yellow based concealers work really well for me, but it kind of brings out my dryness a little bit, which I don't really like, and also, like I said, it doesn't have the most amazing coverage, but it is okay for every day. But I do prefer my Maybelline Fit Me concealer over this one. But as I have it, I really just want to use it up. And directly after I'm done applying my concealer, I'm going to take my powder, and I'm using this powder from L'Oreal and my Real Techniques, I think this is the contour brush, and I just swirl this in here and I pick up some powder and I just put this on under my eyes before the concealer has any time to crease. So once the foundation is done, I'm just going to move on to eyes, and I'm going to start by popping on some of my Urban Decay Primer Potion to prime my eyelids. This is also a product pan item for me, and yeah, I've really been loving this eye primer. I can actually tell a big difference when using it, which is super nice, and I just use about that much for both my eyes. So I'm just going to put these on both my fingers and blend that in on top of my eyelids. And obviously the palette that I've been using every single day basically is my Powder palette, which is the Stila in the Lights. And before I start using this, I'm just going to give you a quick sneak peek of what it's looking like currently. So that is it. But I'm just going to take my 224 brush and the shade Bear, which is the lightest color, and I'm just going to set my eyeshadow frame with this. This is just a matte cream color, and yeah, I use this to set my eyelid primer basically every single day. The next thing that I almost always do when I do my eyeshadows is take the shade Bliss, which is my crease color, using a Zoeva 228 brush and just popping that into the crease of my eyes. So those two steps are something that I do every single day, but from now on I kind of switch up my eye looks. But today I'm going to use the shade Bubbly, which is the golden shade in the palette. And if you watched my last Panda palette update, you know that my goal for this month is to hit pan on that shade. So I'm just going to take that on this random brush that I have from Kicks, which is a Swedish makeup store, and I'm just going to pop this on my lids. So once I have that on, I'm just going to use the same brush, but I'm going to switch it over to the other side, and I'm just going to use the shade Gilded Gold, which I've been loving using together with Bubbly. I think these two look so good together, and I'm just going to put this on the outer third of my eyelids. So once I have those eyeshadows on, I'm just going to take my 227 brush from Zoeva. This is basically clean, and I'm just going to blend out the edges. And then to finish off the eye look, I'm just going to take my MAC 266 brush, which is an eyeliner brush, and I'm going to take the shade Sandstone, which is a dark brown, and I'm just going to line my upper lash line. So once I'm done with that, I'm basically done with eye look. So I'm just going to curl my lashes and apply my mascara. And the mascara that I'm using is the Lash Sensational Waterproof by Maybelline. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to move on to my brows, and I got a request recently to do an everyday eyebrows routine, so I'm going to show you more in depth of what I do. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit and move on to my brow. So for my eyebrows, I use the MAC Fluidline brow gel in Dirty Blonde, as well as my Anastasia clear brow gel. But what I always do to start with is use a clean spoolie and brush up my eyebrows. And what I always do for my eyebrows is use my MAC 218 brush, which is just a thin eyeliner brush, and it looks like this. So what I do is I just take it in this and I just dab it in and grab some product on my brush. And what I basically do is I start by lining underneath my brow, kind of following the natural shape of my brow, and then I start filling in the gap until I reach the top. And I kind of just go to the arch and fill this part in too. And I always leave the first third of my brows clean. So my camera just cut off and I just finished this brow. But I will continue to show you what I did on the other brow. Unfortunately, my camera got overheated, so I couldn't catch all the footage. But I did exactly the same thing, so I'm just going to continue. And I just started filling in the middle of this brow too. Just the same way as I did on this brow. And once I've done that, I just pick up a tiny bit more product on my brush. And I go over the arch of my brow and fill in the tail. Because I want the most color to be on that part of my brows. And once I'm done with that, I just take whatever's left on the brush and I just feather it very lightly throughout the front third of my eyebrows. Like so. And that's my brows done. And then lastly, to set that, I'm just using my Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. And I just go through and when I set them, I always brush them up and out on the tail. And the same on this brow. And that's basically my eyebrows done. So what I've been using for my brow shade every single day is this quad from Isadora. And this is in the shade Glitzy Stone. I just take the lighter shade on my MAC 210 brush and I just swirl this in a bit, and I've been using this as my highlight shade for both my brows and my inner corners. I found that there is a shade in the Stila in the Light palette called Kitten that is a light color as well, but I find that that is too reflective to use as an eyebrow, like brow bone highlight shade, so I prefer to use this one. So I'll zoom you back out and I'm just going to continue doing my face makeup, and the first thing I'm going to do is take this eyeshadow from YSL in the shade number 4, and this is the Real Techniques Duo Fiber Contour Brush, and what I do is I just pick up a tiny bit of product and I just contour my face very lightly. I don't like contouring too much for every single day because I just find that it can look too harsh and just like daylight, so I just do this very, very lightly. And the next thing I do is take my sleek contour kit in light, and I just take this brush from Bobbi Brown, and this is the face blender brush, and I just pick up the bronzer and I just bronze up the perimeters of my face. So I go over the forehead, the temples, and also the back of my cheeks. I've been liking quite a bronzy look recently because it's finally getting a bit warmer here, so I feel like I can get away with using more bronzers nowadays, which is super nice because it's nice not having to be so pale all the time. But yeah, this is actually a really nice bronzer if you want to really bronze up your skin, because I don't know, it's just very neutral toned, and also I find that this is almost a bit too dark for me, so it works really well with that. And in the winter time I actually had to be very soft when applying it because, like I said, it's very pigmented and a little bit dark for me. And then the next thing I'm going to do is take my blush, and this is the Body Shop blush in Nutmeg, that's also in my project pan, and I use this powder brush by Bobbi Brown to apply this. So I just pick some up and I put it on my apples of my cheeks. And then to highlight, I'm also using the sleek contour kit again, and I use this Luxe highlight brush from Zoeva and pick up some of the highlighter and just pop it on my cheekbones. And I also like putting some on my cupid's bow and a little bit down my nose. And then to finish off the look, I'm just taking this eyeliner from Rimmel, and this is the nude one, and I'm just putting this on my waterline. And And then the last thing I do for my makeup is apply my lipstick, and this is the Revlon Super Lustrous lipstick in the shade Cherries in the Snow, and this is also in my project pan. And this is quite a dark, like raspberry red color, and today I don't really want too of an intense lip, so I'm just gonna dab this in the center of my lip and blend it up with my finger. So yeah, that's it. This is basically what I do every single day for my makeup for work. And this is basically the products that I use every single day currently. I switch up some of them, that's in my monthly makeup bag, but if you watch those videos you know what products I'm using. I've really been loving doing my makeup like this, and although I'm using the same products almost every day because of my project pans, I really still enjoy them, so that is really good. But I really hope you enjoy this video, and if you like these types of shadowy get ready with me, please let me know, because this is something new for me and I just thought it would be fun to show you how I actually apply my project pan items. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I actually need to head out to work now, so I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys!